enough on the member welcome screen. Let's get on to security. Now, security is one of those things that is necessary. It helps you run and control and better manage your business. So it's one of those things that's not quite so glamorous as cool things that you can do with the member welcome screen like I just showed you. But it is something that's pretty cool in the sense of it'll allow you to gain more control over your business. I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I want to really just entice you by showing you some of the incredible things that are possible with security and how powerful security is, again, beginning in version 3.6. So you guys have all of these things available beginning immediately. And I'm going to just refer you in the 7 days and 7 ways to where you can find out a lot more information about security on your own. So let's take a very, very quick look. We're going to jump over here to button number 15, More Options menu, and then button number 4, Security. Now, for the longest time, iGoFigure had a 3-tiered model of security. That sounds really fancy, but let me make it simple for you. Owner, manager, and employee, right? You had an employee password, you had a manager password, and you had an owner password. And the employee password is the password that everybody knew that you used to start up the system in the morning. It's your basic password that gets you into the software. The manager password was kind of an in-between, a second level, a little bit more powerful of a password, allowed the manager to go into certain areas that you didn't want every employee to go into, but it wasn't your top level. It wasn't your all-access password. That was the owner password. The owner password is the one that allowed you to do pretty much anything that you wanted. And you know the 2 most frequently asked questions that we have gotten through the years. You know, I've been with GoFigure coming up 8 years this January, and I'll tell you, I'm proud to have been here with this company for that long. It's been an honor and a privilege serving you all, and in 8 years, I can tell you that by far the 2 most common questions we've gotten about security have been the following. Number 1, what does each of those passwords control? Is there some place I can go to see a list so I know exactly what does the employee password do, what areas can a manager get into, and of course the owner gets you in everywhere. And then the second most common question / request has been, and can we please change that? Because I would like to have control over where my manager goes or where only an employee is allowed. And I can see from some of the comments here that several of you resemble that remark, as the expression goes. So let me show you some very neat things, because I know it's been a frustration, and Kathy is saying this right now, that is pretty much a comment exactly like what I'm about to say. Thank you, Kathy. Is that many times she's had to give, or many of you have had to give, an owner password to a manager because, quite simply, the manager password didn't get them into an area that the manager needed to get into, that they wanted them to be able to get into. And I know that puts you in a tough position, because it means that you either have to live without the manager having that privilege, you have to do it yourself, or you have to be in the rather uncomfortable position of giving the manager the owner password, even though you don't want them to have all control to your software. But it's a compromise. It's like, okay, I'm going to entrust you with the owner password just because it's so necessary that you do this one thing. Okay, all of that ends in version 3.6, beginning in 3.6. And I promise you we'll continue in version 3.8 for all time forward. Take a look under security. I've got basic settings. I'm not doing anything fancy. I've not gone to advanced settings. I've still got an owner, manager, and employee, just like we've always had. So, to answer to your first question, where exactly can an employee go? Where exactly can a manager go? Let's say I want to see, where exactly can a manager go? I simply click here on manager, and on the right side of the screen here, in exquisite detail, take a look at this list and how many different software areas and sub-areas they are. You will see exactly where a manager is allowed to go and not go. Quite simply, if there's a check mark, it means that a manager is allowed to go there. If there's not a check mark, it means that a manager is not allowed to go there. And Deborah is saying, I can't believe it. I've been using 3.6 for how long? Okay, I'm sorry, that's not clear. She's saying, and I never knew that that was in there. Okay, this is in there, and you can see, so if you want to know where can an employee go, here's the list. And you can see every area an employee can go and not go. If you want to see where can a manager password go, you'll be able to see it. Susan's saying this is a great feature. I've just started to use it. Cool, thank you. And finally, if you click on owner, you'll notice everything is checked and it's also grayed out. I hope that makes sense to you. You can't take away privilege from the owner. The owner is the highest level of password. The owner is always going to have access to all areas of the system and is always going to be able to go everywhere in the system. Now let's get to the second part of that question. How can you change things? For example, if you have an employee, a regular employee is not allowed to archive members because you see that option is not checked. Let's see. Is a manager allowed to archive members? Yes, because when I click on manager, you'll see that the manager is allowed to archive members. Okay? So let's say that I want every employee to be able to every employee to be able to archive members. I don't want to have to give out a manager password in order to have somebody archive a member. No problem. You know what? I just assign that privilege to an employee. An employee can now archive members. That simple. On the other hand, let's say I want to take away some privileges, okay? So in other words, can I do that? Sure I can. An employee, let's leave it the way it was, does not have privilege to archive members. Let's say that I don't want a manager to have that privilege either. Let's say that's a very serious function. If a member is left and we're about to archive them, I want only me as the owner personally to be able to do that because the buck stops with me. I'm not archiving anyone until me, the owner, personally calls them and sees is there anything I can do to rescue that member. And only if I decide, nope, they're not coming back, can't save them, I need to archive them, then I'm allowed to do that. Look how easy it is to take that privilege away from the manager. I uncheck it, and now even a manager password is not going to work. Shirley is bringing up an excellent point. She says, I've been using this for a long time. However, you are changing the sign-in requirements to meet PCI compliance. Okay, Shirley, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that when you say you are changing the sign-in requirements to meet PCI compliance. But Shirley does bring up an excellent larger point. Let me talk a little bit about that. Okay, Shirley, if you could clarify that, I'd appreciate it. But let me talk a little bit about that. And if any of you other have questions about that, let me know also. PCI compliance is something that is very, very important and relates exactly to what we're talking about here regarding security. PCI means payment card industry. That is the payment credit cards, MasterCard and Visa, and they have come up with a set of rules, PCI compliance. You're compliant with the payment card industry, and in particular, they call it PABP compliance. PABP means payment accounting best practices. If you look at our website, if you just go to igofigure.com, you will see in the upper right corner that we are indeed PCI/PABP compliant. And what that means is that we, GoFigure as a company, in our software, the iGoFigure software as a software system, has been certified by the payment card industry itself, by Visa and MasterCard, as being sufficiently secure and password protected and encrypted that they certify it for processing financial information electronically, credit card information, financial account information, and that is absolutely so very important, especially in today's electronic world with hacking and credit card fraud and electronic crime and identity theft. And please keep this in mind. Two things. If you are thinking of using any other payment processor besides the iGoFigure system in our company, make sure, I'm not advocating that you take your business anywhere else, but I am advocating check and ask, are the people that you are using PCI/PABP compliant? Are they certified? And second of all, if you do use GoFigure, I can tell you, and again, you can see this for yourself, because if you go to our website, you will not only see our certification, but if you click on that link, it takes you to Visa and MasterCard's website. So you don't have to take our word for it. You can actually see it on Visa and MasterCard's website, and you'll see our company name listed that they have certified us as being PCI compliant. So please have every confidence in the world when you use GoFigure as your electronic payment processor. And not only do we have great security, but we're probably going to save you money too. So if you're interested in signing up with us, the idea of this iCamp is not to be a sales pitch. It's to be training. So I promise I'll talk about this for the next 10 seconds, and then I'm going to move on. Give us a call. Challenge us to meet or beat your current rates. You are going to love the service and the way that the electronic payment works in the iGoFigure software, And again, we're probably going to be able to save you money. So I'm going to say about that, go to our website. You can see under Contact Us where to get a hold of the sales department. If you're not already charging electronically through GoFigure, please check us out and give our sales department an opportunity to prove.